In this module, I'm going to be giving you a very brief introduction to Twitter. I want to start with just a very basic idea of choosing your Twitter handle. This is the name that other people are going to see. Mine is @NikkiUsher, but your profile name can be different. So for example, my married name is Laser, and the name that you see on my profile is Nikki Usher Laser. You want to be careful choosing your Twitter handle. You want it to be something that people are going to recognize. A lot of people have to make the decision whether to go with their name or to begin tweeting as their organization's name. One of the things you're going to have to decide is, are you going to be the point person for your organization, or is that handle that you choose, that Twitter handle, going to be the organization handle? What I recommend is, I think that it can be a little bit problematic if you just become the single point person as a brand, as your personality, because if you leave the organization in a lurch. So very basic, choose your Twitter handle, make it your real name, make it somebody you can easily find, use your Twitter handle for your organization, choose one that people will really be able to find, keep it relatively short, and if somebody happens to have the same Twitter handle that you would really like, sometimes all it takes is just emailing that person or direct messaging that person, which is probably the easiest way to do it, is direct messaging them and asking them, are they really using it? Would they mind if you took it on for your organization? You might have to exchange some cash, and I think that's actually illegal according to Twitter, but you might find that it works out. The second thing you're going to do, and we'll go over this in greater depth, is write your bio. You're going to upload an image for your background. You're going to upload a picture of yourself. And you're probably going to put some hashtags or @signs for your bio. This is pretty important though. Who are you going to follow? One of the most important points of Twitter is gaining access to information. You want your Twitter feed to be able to teach you something. So what is your Twitter feed going to teach you? One of the things you have to figure out is, who do you want to follow? So where are you going to get the most information from? That's the thing that you really have to ask yourself. Who is going to give you the most information to keep you the most informed? So you might think about newsmakers. You might think about what news organizations are going to be having conversations about what you're interested in. Oftentimes, you might not just be following the New York Times, you might be following the New York Times Tech Beat or the New York Times Business Twitter for more specialized updates. So think about what larger news accounts you want to follow. You also might start to identify what journalists are usually writing about your organization. So think about who's covered you in the past, who's quoted you in the past, who is writing about your issues. So think about the people who talk about the things that are important to your organizations. You want to see what they're thinking about all the time. Another key thing to think about is your colleagues. You want to be thinking about peer organizations and see what they're up to. You want to think about people that are very influential in your field. So perhaps a very big campaign donor or a very big influencer who is maybe a top scientist. You want to know other related companies and what they're up to and the way they're creating their messaging. Maybe you can learn something, what not to do or what to do. And follow your colleagues, because you want to know the kinds of things they're saying, how they're contributing to the conversation, and be able to step in if they're not using Twitter right, or if they're actually using Twitter well, learn from them. I also think that it's important to follow something fun. So one of my favorites is Cute Emergency. You can see that in this tweet, they are a cute little baby monkey comes up. So I think that just having something to break up the really difficult, hard news, hard information just keeps you a little bit sane. So make sure to put in some fun things as well into your feed. The next thing that's absolutely crucial is to understand the hashtag. So you may use them in your personal life on Facebook, but what are they? And according to the dictionary.com definition, it's a word or phrase preceded by a hash or a pound sign, and it's used to identify messages on a specific topic. So the interesting thing about this is there's often a meaning that's associated with this that is something that is socially constructed. Twitter comes up with the meaning for this hashtag. Um, Oftentimes, we don't really know how hashtags necessarily evolve. Sometimes it just comes from one person. So, for example, with Boko Haram and the girls that were missing in Nigeria, there was one man who was on Twitter who created the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. And from that single tweet, that hashtag was spread all over the internet, and he started that hashtag. Other times, hashtags are obvious if they're perhaps coming from a particular place of breaking news. So in the case of Ferguson, Ferguson became a hashtag that everybody could begin using. Other hashtags become social campaigns used by organizations, or others just become something that people come to think about. So Black Lives Matter might be a good example. So hashtags are things that come from the people of Twitter. Sometimes you can suggest a hashtag, for example, if you're hosting a live event and you want your organization to be the hashtag. You can introduce that hashtag at the beginning of the event, ask people to tweet about it, and if there are enough people in one place tweeting about you, you can actually move up and become something that's trending in your area. That's great for establishing a profile for your organization. A hashtag is a great way to get into the conversation, to see who's influential, to see who's smart to follow. So if you're interested in Ukraine, you can actually click on the hashtag and see every single tweet that is about Ukraine. And from that, you can start to see what's the breaking news, who are the journalists talking about it, who are the important people in Ukraine. And you too can become somebody contributing to Ukraine by using that hashtag. So it's really a way to join a conversation. A lot of these are fun. One of my favorites, I'm an academic, is this academic Valentine hashtag. And some of the funny things are, I just met you, this is crazy. You want my data, co-author maybe. Hashtag academic Valentine. Whole conversations emerge on Valentine's Day over these dorky in-group jokes about Valentines only academics would say to each other. Now, I think it's really important before we go any further to look at the anatomy of what a tweet actually looks like. So in one corner, you're going to see the person's actual profile name, which may be different than what you see right next to it, which is the Twitter handle. So you'll see what the person's name is and whatever their handle is. Then you'll see their avatar, so what picture they've chosen. Usually if somebody is very professional, they will use their professional profile picture that they've taken or something from a book jacket. But oftentimes people choose something funny because they're trying to establish themselves as a personality. One of the things you're going to have to choose if you're working for an organization is what is the single thing that captures your organization. People may not recognize your logo. So if you're an energy company, maybe you want to choose something, or you're a wind company, maybe you want to choose a wind turbine so people know that you're tweeting about wind. They might not know what your acronym actually stands for if that's in your avatar. So think carefully about what that's going to be. Other things you're going to see in there, you might see somebody else's handle as part of the tweet, and that will be their handle written as their handle. You'll see the text of the tweet. Often you'll see a shortened URL. Somebody might go to a site to shorten it, or the link may already be shortened by the organization they're getting the content from. Twitter can also shorten a link. So you can just put in a full link from anywhere on the web, and Twitter will shorten it to about 21 characters. So if you're really looking to shorten characters, because you only get 140 characters, sometimes it is worth the effort to go to one of these link shortener sites. Bitly is my favorite. Go onto one of these link shortener sites, get the link shortened to about 8, 9, 10 characters, and save those 11 characters for something else you want to say. So you'll have, usually most tweets have some sort of link, sometimes they don't, and it'll help you flesh out the tweet. You can also see underneath there are options such as expand, reply, retweet, favorite, and other advanced options. We'll talk about a little bit more about what all of these things mean. But oftentimes you can see things, if you press expand, you can see the conversation. If you press reply, you can reply to somebody. If you retweet, that exact same tweet will be what somebody says. To favorite, you'll be able to show that you like something. It's like a fist bump. And then there are advanced options that we'll go into later. So this is some of the basics, the very basics of an introduction to the kinds of things you're doing when you're very much beginning to tweet.